Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pull Up Tray Podcast. I am, of course, your co host, Samson Folk, and of course, joined by the Trey who pulls up, Trevon Heath. We are here. The upstairs neighbor just stopped running on the treadmill. Things are so coming our way, dude. Trevon, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Like seeing like the Raptors haven't been in the playoffs for a couple of years now. You know how nice it is to just enjoy your spring without stress. I've been watching prospects, been hopeful on the next season. There's like nothing negative going on around me.
There was one play last night when I was covering the Pacers game
Yeah.
where I yell, "Come on, dude!" And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "I haven't been here in a
That's real.
while, man." Yeah,
Like I don't know. I think the last time I probably felt that way, I was like, Fred, please cook, please cook Nikola Vucic,
oh no, dude,
please.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That and the Team Canada getting cooked
Oh
by Yannick, whatever,
yeah.
or Lasorte. Like
And
those guys, yeah, those are the two moments you and I harken back to for crushing defeat. This is what I want to ask you though. For anybody listening, by the way, like, comment, subscribe. Wow, we did it early,
Woo,
dude.
this might be
It
the
helps.
earliest of all time.
It might be the earliest of all time. It helps out the podcast tremendously. We think we do good work. We will be talking about Ryan Kalkbrenner, Hansen Yang, and Thomas Sorber. Trey and these we might be far apart on these prospects again, and
Yeah.
we might somehow be able to navigate these conversations without getting mad. We'll see, though. I want to ask you before we get into draft stuff. Pacers OKC finals.
Yes.
Are you tapped in? Are you interested?
I'm tapped in. Like I know like the general consensus is like these are two small market teams. Obviously, like a lot of people, including myself, wanted to see what a finals game would look like in Madison Square Garden and see
Oh
see
yeah.
Spike Lee touch that hardwood, touch the trophy. But the Pacers play like a super exciting style. SGA is one of the big young stars, and like Tyrese is like putting himself in those conversations. Like as a fan, like I'm not gonna care if Adam Silver's ratings aren't gonna be the greatest, personally, as long as the games are good. So I'm gonna be tapped in.
This always comes back to a conversation that you and I always feel very alienated from. Ratings, money, like, oh, okay. You guys care about that? It always interested me so much that people hyper focus on that. It's like, why is that important? It's that
Yeah.
who I can't remember the director's name. He did The Hangover and all the DC movies. He's like, doesn't matter, man. The film got made. It's like, yeah, like why am I cheering for the net worth of this conglomerate? Anyway, I've watched every single finals for as long as I can remember, maybe going back
Mm.
to like 2007. I don't know if I watched 2006. Actually, I did see 2006. Maybe 2005 I didn't watch. I was like 10. When was there a finals you can remember not watching?
No, that's not. I could tell you 2004 because I remember my uncle screaming
Oh
at Kobe to pass
yeah.
the ball. And
And Pistons.
yeah, and they shocked the world.
Damn. And little did you know you would become so close to that city as well, you know?
Yeah, that is true.
Man, maybe
That's
maybe that championship left an indelible mark. Like when you saw the Patriots win, you're like, "Damn,
yeah,
fire."
yeah.
And Kai became a Patriots fan because his house was cheering against them, and he's like, "I'm a contrarian. This is what I'm gonna do." But you and I watched the last game of the finals last year together in a bar. Do you remember what
Yes.
kind of bar?
It was a Jamaican restaurant. It was a good time. It was me, you, and a leg.
Yep.
We went to the bar, and me thinking the finals are on. Of course, the Jamaican restaurant is going to be playing the game. Cricket on every single TV. I walk up. It's only right for me to walk up to the to the bartender.
Yeah, you
Give me.
you stepped in first. It wasn't me.
I'm like, can you put it on the finals? And the pain that was in his eyes
Mhm.
when I asked him, and he spent his time. He didn't even know what channel the game
Yeah.
was on. He put it on though, but
Yep.
everyone else was not happy.
So if you were shocked, imagine me. And now I'll say this is my ignorance. I'm not afraid to be ignorant. I didn't know black people liked cricket, dog. Like I had
Yeah.
no idea. I walk in there and I see these guys are like cricket. It blows my mind because growing up in Saskatchewan, it's like, yeah, there's black people, but most of them are like there's a lot of Nigerian folks. There's like
Mhm.
Oleg is my roommate, my best friend is from Burundi. Like there's not like a lot of cricket there.
Yeah.
And I've only been in Toronto for a couple years, and you put me on a pickleball before you put me on a cricket. No Jamaican man took me to the side, or West Indies man took me to the side and
Yeah.
was like, yo, cricket is popping. And then I go in there, and apparently cricket is popping.
Yeah, but like, see, I don't count it for me because they compete as the West Indies, which is like, honestly, they really should compete as just Jamaica, but it
Is
is
this
what
a
it is.
political stance for
I
you?
I I think we're about a decade away from it just all being the Greater Jamaican Islands,
I,
personally.
if you had your way, yes. It was so funny, dude. When I went to go look that up, because when you said it, this is the problem with, awarding your friends the place of authority. You said that to me, and I assumed it was like some sort of popular movement, and I realized it's just you. This is a grab. This is a grab for power from a Jamaican man. And wait, so do you know anything? Are like the West Indies? Can they compete with like Pakistan and India? And like, are they close to the top of the top?
Yeah, they're really good. I
Mm,
don't know about now, but like with my family, we used to watch tons of cricket. And like cricket is so
wow.
long, so you like can tap in and tap out of it, but like super competitive.
Yeah. Last time I watched cricket was that finals game, and before that, it was at an Airbnb in New Zealand where some guy was just watching cricket. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm learning how this works.
Yeah.
Also watched rugby. Okay, Hansen Yang, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Thomas Sorber, rank 'em, sir, rank 'em.
Okay. I'm gonna go Sorber first. I think there's a bit of a gap between him and the next two. I'm gonna go Yang second, and then Kalkbrenner third.
Yeah. I have the same thing, although I actually, and keep in mind, I'm quite new to Yang. Although
Yeah,
Josh,
best
there's
of
always
business.
a tweet 2 years ago. He's like, Hanson Yang had a step through on Trey Johnson, and Josh was like, I like this. I'm gonna keep tabs on him. Hanson Yang, I think is closer to Sorber than
Mm,
than you think. For anybody who wants a deep dive into Thomas Sorber, specifically, Brendan wrote a really great piece
he
on
did.
Raptors Republic. He and Cody talked about Sorber and Kalkbrenner on a podcast together, I believe, just a couple days ago too. So if you're looking for a different opinion than mine and Trey's, it's right there. But I really like the Yang stuff. And then when I was watching, I was like, he's fluid, he's
Yeah,
quick. And
I agree.
then come to figure out he has better agility scores than Malwatch, better agility scores than Queen. And I was like,
Mm,
yeah, this makes sense. He moved pretty well. I think, well, that's where we are.
yeah.
We'll introduce Hansen Yang. So, Hansen Yang, for the first time, we're actually going to look at some film on the Pull Up Trade podcast. I hope everybody is absolutely ecstatic. Now, I believe he played for Qingdao for 2 seasons in the CBA. Am I going to pretend like I watched Qingdao film? Nope. I didn't see a lick of it, man. The stats, though, are 15.8 points per game, 10.7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.4 blocks, 1 steal, 57, 29, 65 splits. He was excellent in that league.
Mm,
I can't pretend to know how to transfer Qingdao CBA to the NBA. However, he is large, 7 foot
massive.
1, barefoot, could be almost 7'3" on the court. 252 pounds, 7'2.5" and 3/4 wingspan, 9'3" standing reach, 26-inch no step vert, 30-inch max vert. He moves well. He will
Yeah.
turn 20 after the day or the day after the draft. Give me your. I'm gonna play the Hanson Yang package while you talk about what you like
Okay.
about him. The film is on screen, ladies and
Wow,
gents.
look at the level we've gotten to. Wow.
Dude, we're so up.
I think with Yang, he offers similar to bigs that I like, who can make plays above the break, like with
Mhm.
passes, process in the short roll. He does all of those things, but at 7'2", 7'3",
Yeah.
and he also has the fluidity with both shoulders, with his hips as well, to make plays quickly before the defense comes over. And I thought one of the really impactful things that you saw he's playing against grown men. Obviously, I'm not
Mhm.
going to pretend to be a CBA legend.
Yeah.
Also,
Who is he playing against? Tell me, dude. I don't know either.
but he has at his age, he invites contact. He's able to stay balanced. His contact balance is
Mhm.
very strong and has really good anchor when getting low. And that is shown in his post work all the time. He's creating space. He's getting closer to the rim. But what I think separates him in the posts, a big like him and Queen, is like their hip fluidity, their footwork and hips can switch on a dime really quickly, and he can get to his hook shot. He can spin off of his right shoulder, get to the lane, and that puts immense pressure on the defense because the typical way that teams try to take away like post ups is either A, fronting them so they can't catch the ball, or B, when they do catch, the weak side defender come over and create like havoc in that way. But with guys like him, he has the size to already be at the rim and then also have the fluidity to make a quick turn, make a quick play before the defense comes over. Pascal Siakam's like a perfect example of this. Every single game they played the Knicks, they've switched him onto a small, and before they can get over to him, he's already put up a shot. He's already turned and got to the basket because of his hip fluidity and being a special mover. And doing that at 7'2" is enormous and has tons of potential.
Yeah. Queen is definitely more bendy than
Yeah.
Yang is. But Yang, like if you had told me just it's like picture a 7'2" center in your mind from China, I would not think he would have been as quick or as fluid as Yang was
Mhm.
watching it back. And Yang, like, he plays with control, which is really nice to see. He is also, just from this combine, again, we're not the Yang experts, but we're talking about him. We watched a little bit from the combine. I think he's not a fake big man passer. I think he's a real big man
Agreed.
passer. I bitch and moan about fake big man passing all the time. Yang, I think, is real. I think that you see guys like Şengün, Jokic, who are some other like bigs who play with a decent amount of control. Like I don't think Pascal really counts.
Yeah.
He's more dynamic, but I think Yang will be a better post up player than like Derek Queen. Although Derek Queen, like the ranginess of who he is, I think there's probably a lot of utility there. But
Yeah.
regardless, we don't have to keep doing the Queen thing. But Yang, I think, will be able to shoot it at an okay level. I don't think it'll be a huge part of his career, but thing that I love the most about him is the fluidity, and fluid, huge movers
Yeah.
typically can find their way to doing something good on defense, or at least being passable, being able to exist in a team construct. That's how Şengün, despite his limitations, can kind of fit into Houston, for example. But also on top of that, he's a bastard screener. Like
Yeah.
Yang is really comfortable with that physicality, and we'll put this up here again. But so this play is fine enough. Like this is just okay. He'll invite delay action. He'll work through stuff. He'll reset. Like that is a real pass.
Yeah.
That's
Orlando
not that.
Robinson never made that pass
Yeah,
this season.
that is not like a stupid. Like that's not like a easy peasy high low
Mhm.
pass. That is a real pass with English on it. It's predictive in where his teammates going. He hit a tight area with it. Like that's really good. And then like popping. He's a fine enough shooter. I think it'll be something that he can do at the next level.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it'll be great. Obviously, he's huge. He can get on the glass. I don't think it's like been a huge part of his game, or at least
Yeah.
at the next level. This play, we're looking at just like, okay, a little bit of mobility, hangs with him, pins it off the glass. He's not got great hips or anything like that, but he certainly was able to get to a point. So what at the combine they're running like simple delay stuff or pistol stuff, so you can see like this is the same play with two different reads, so it's
Mhm.
just cutting off of him, right? That's an easy pass, but he makes it quickly. Kudos to him. In for a layup. They run the same play, right? And there's a difference here. They take it away, they drop out of it, right? They don't like it as much, so he's able to pivot into something else, work it. Look at that, creates that seal,
Yep.
starts running in the lane, catches it with the offhand, rolls to the rim, bucket. Like that's a really nice piece of work as a roller. Creates that seal, gets down, catch, up, go.
Yeah, that's
Just
big
like
time.
he and this also too, like
This
this
is
is
the
a
one.
really, yeah, this is what you like because you're a filthy little post up man. It's like the control there, body control. After he picks up the ball, and this is actually pretty important, he doesn't get pushed off his spot. A
Yeah.
lot of guys, after they pick it up in the post and try and do a move, they'll get pushed off their spot, and then they'll go farther, deeper on baseline, can't get back. He maintains his position. uses it to worm to the basket. He has a lot of tools.
He does. Like even in that play, what I love about that is usually, especially younger bigs, when everything that they're trying to do is elongating their steps and trying to use their fluidity in some way. And like with bigs like Malawach, we've seen they lose sort of their leverage in doing that.
Mhm.
Whereas with Yang, he got so low after the spin, gets underneath the big at 7-2. He's right at the big's hip, which is absurd for someone that large, and then creates contact, goes and finishes on the other side of the rim. He did all of that within like a 2 second span of processing. And like to in this NBA to be a big your processing has to be very quick as a passer as well as a post player. Like teams are too good at using their weak side defender to take away actions like that. So if he's gonna have a much easier time getting to the rim because of his size, and if he isn't like contact averse, and I believe he's around 250 at 7'2", like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
there's still even room to like add to his frame overall. So I I could see him like like very impactful and also like very early.
yeah.
Um, I thought I was gonna be the one that come in really bullish before you messaged me today, like
Mm,
because he's been hovering around early second round near our pick. I would be pretty surprised if he falls to 39. I
yeah.
think he's worth a first round pick.
I'm hooting and hollering if he's available at
Yeah,
39.
yeah,
I this because this I he's not in consideration for 9. I mean, I would be shocked. Like I the jaw is dropping
yeah.
if he goes at 9 and he won't. 39 feels like pretty far away. But I mean, the second like I don't I think I might have had the screenshot of it somewhere, but like the guys who are dropping out and going back to college, there's like a bunch of guys who are definitely in consideration who are absolutely they took their names out of the draft. Like Yaxel, we loved,
Yep,
and he's gone. Bird is gone. I don't
yep.
know what he does, but S liked him apparently. I don't know how much S saw of him, but like, and there's more names obviously. Guys are just going back. Makes the second round weaker,
Mhm.
obviously, because there's like 5 or 6 big names, big second round names,
Yeah,
flyers that people might have wanted. Yang, if he's there at 39, I'm like, if I'm the Raptors, I'm sprinting to go take him. But I assume when you watch him, you see a guy who he clearly has good touch. He
yeah.
clearly reads the floor well. He does not have a ton of limitations as a mover. Of course, he's a big. Of course, there's some things, but
Mhm.
I don't know what his weakness is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Except he has one weakness, actually. I'm stupid ass. I don't know what his weakness is, except this one. Stupid. So I think that he is not actually that effective guarding down low. I think that's
yeah,
his
that's fair.
weakness. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would kind of. I'm not gonna say I watched tons of games of the CBA, but I did watch some.
You went to
Um,
YouTube? You picked it out?
yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um, the only thing that I wrote down in some sort of drawbacks, and it could just be the usage and like level of play he had, like some tunnel vision on his post ups. Like there's clear opportunities where he can hit weak side corner that he didn't, or he's trying to bowl through 2 or 3 defenders getting into the lane. Like he that's my favorite move. He loves the high pickup over the smaller guy to get into the lane. And that leads to some sort of trouble because there's bigs coming from the opposite side are far more athletic than there will be in the CBA, obviously. But like overall, like I would personally like trade up for him if he's in somewhere hovering around like 20 to 24. I think, and the Raptors don't pick a big at 9. I think it makes tons of sense, and you have a guy that
He
two
also
developmental
plays
bigs.
just like Pirtle.
He does.
Like
He's a
he
fit for the
literally
Raptors.
plugs in so similarly. Oh, I guess he also has no like you're not gonna lob him.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
that's the thing too.
But the Raptors offense like works fine with that because you get they gave Orlando Robinson hub touches from the elbow and he was operating from to that Tennessee game was special.
Colin Castleton,
But
man.
so like he can operate some of those stuff, and especially if he gets like one of the things that made Yaka so effective is in those possessions, like he also has the threat of his floater. And I think Yang is going to be able to put the ball on the floor. Like he has enough fluidity to do that. And if he can do that, be a passer from those spots and maybe hit like a 10-footer from there, that's really effective at his size.
I like his touch a lot. I
Mm.
think I think it's gonna be present. Also, like if it's at 39, because trading up, you never know what a team is gonna ask for.
Yeah.
You never know. But we're discussing it. I'm sure people in the comment section will be like, "There's no way he'll be available." Yeah, Perry Jones the third. They told the Jay whatever he was gonna tell me he's going top 5. He went 29th or whatever. I don't know, but if he's available at 39, take him because that's an NBA player.
Yeah.
He's an NBA big, like so
Yeah.
quickly. There's like upside there, man. He's pretty savvy. He's pretty shifty mover. I had no idea what to expect when I like sat down to watch him play, and I was like, "Oh, this dude rocks! Like
Yeah.
this guy is incredibly fun as a basketball player." I was overjoyed because sometimes there's like players who get a lot of hype, and you go look, and you're like, "Man, I'm just not seeing it." And like that's the name of the game. And some guys who you see it with, other people
Mhm.
don't. Like Yang, it seems it's kind of like like Leon Bridges.
Yeah.
Leon Bridges Coming Home, the album. I'm like, I put that on. I'm like, who wouldn't enjoy this music? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Who wouldn't like? You don't have to stake your franchise on Hanson Yang, but who wouldn't enjoy watching little Hanson Yang? You
Yeah,
know?
especially like that sort of area, like anywhere between like the 20s, like the upside is enormous. If you get a starter guy who can play on the floor, like I think what we've seen from the playoffs is like big boys are back. Well, they've been back for a while, but
Yeah.
being able to utilize strength and size is significant in the NBA. Like those guys have become as skilled as some of the guards. So you need to have that size. And like the Raptors, like especially like from a backup big perspective, God bless like Jonathan Mobile's heart, but you need size to rebound at that level, no matter how many like initial stops you're going to get. You need that type of size. And I think what would be cool with Yang is that he operates in the same way as Jakob Poeltl, so you have that same sort of fluidity, that symmetry offensively, whether Jakob comes on and off. Because I think one of the key things with the Raptors, when Jakob is off of the floor, the offense looks completely different because he's the only one who really can operate in those actions at his like processing speed.
You imagine he dunks on somebody? Ni hao! Dude, there'd be so much great stuff associated with it. Also, man, if Hanson Yang gets drafted to the Raptors, dude, the Raptors have exponential growth
Yeah.
in like readers, media, whoever. Like if they're considering that Hanson Yang brings with him probably a lot of fanfare.
Yeah.
He's fun. Not in play at 9, I don't think. Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about the guy who is in play at 9? A guy who some people think is better than Malwatch, is
Yeah.
better than Queen. I know the chess piece for you is that's a big name. That's a big player right there. But Thomas Sorber,
Yeah.
our friend Nabil calls him Blueberry Sorber. I'll tee it up and then I'll throw it to you.
Yep.
You're the big. Not only are you the French whisperer, nicknamed by listeners, but you're the big man whisperer. Thomas Sorber. He's a freshman out of Georgetown. He's like a forward center. He's short for a center, but his arms go forever. He's 6'9", barefoot with a little extra on it. 7'6" wingspan. Good lord, that is an insane wingspan.
Enormous.
Yeah, 9'1" standing reach. He's 263 pounds. Now, here's the thing. That's too much weight, but I think he's carrying it still from his surgery, probably. Like
Yeah, he came in
he weighs,
heavy.
he weighs in the combine. He's obviously gonna be heavy. So something I noticed watching like his film back was the farther back I went into the season, the more I liked it. And then it made me think like because they described his foot injury as like turf toe initially, and they
Mhm.
weren't really sure what to call it, and then they had him and they're like, okay, this needs surgery. I still haven't seen anything announced about what in his foot they did surgery on. It's just kind of like foot surgery. On February 26th, successful surgery. I think it was bothering him for like a little bit longer. His mobility looked way sharper at the start of the season than it did at the end, or his
Mhm.
season, I should say. Anyway, So he is a big man who carries a lot of weight who just had foot surgery. I know for some people that's a no-no, just to get it out there. His numbers are great. 14.5 points per game, 8.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists. He does make the weak side skip sometimes, by the way. 2
Mhm.
blocks, 1.5 steals, 53, 16 from 3 point, 72 from the free throw line, 58% true shooting. That is Thomas Sorber. Trevon, take it away, sir.
I'm a Sorber guy. I like him a lot. I think why I have a gap between him and Yang is that I think they should consider him at 9, honestly, if Derek Queen isn't there.
You
But
love your bigs, dude. You want
I'm
a
a big
slick, savvy big, dude.
with Sorberg, you're getting tons of the. I don't think he's as sharp of a passer and processor like a Queen or a Yang is, but he can make a lot of those reads, especially like in like short roll opportunities. He's a fairly good processor. He can make plays. I don't think he makes like some of the more adventurous passes like those two other guys will try to make.
Hmm.
But he's very good at conventional passing. He can do a lot of the things that the Raptors ask for him. I think defensively, he has a chance to be like the best defensive player in the draft
Whoa.
because he both has the mobility and length to really disturb defenses. When he was on the floor, they had one of the best defenses like in terms of
They
protecting the
were
rim
they were incredible, yes.
in the NCAA, and when they were off, they're one of the worst in the NCAA
Mm.
because he creates so much havoc. Like at a 7'6" wingspan with crazy, I'm not gonna say crazy, but with really good mobility, he can get to both sides of the court and really wreck things in a way that, especially on a smaller court in college, that is significantly hard to score on. Um, I think he's more of an interior defender than probably on the perimeter. I think there's like some flashes of that there overall.
It was the same as with Fleming, where you'd see him up above the
Yeah.
break and you'd be like, whoa, like, why
Yeah.
are you here? But I mean, to each their own.
Yeah, I don't think like he's a Evan Mobley where you can throw possessions on like a wing or guard for and be okay with it. But as an interior defender, he's very consistent with his rotations. He is super strong. So teams have a really hard time scoring on him in the post because he is extremely long. He's extremely filled out in terms of his overall strength. Like he kind of has like a similar frame to like like a Andre Drummond, where they're both like
That's pretty good.
they're both like stocky in build, but somehow like absurdly long at the exact same time.
Guys bounce off of him.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and I think like offensively, there's some his situation is going to probably be the decider on how well he is able to stick offensively because I don't think he's like a natural leaper like Andre Drummond is, where there's going to be some vertical spacing that helps with that. He's going to have to win offensively with like being a really good and smart roller, being able to seal out guys really early and win fairly early on, either on the break or in like those pick and roll or switch situations. Because I think his post work, a lot of it is him brutalizing people and utilizing his strength. It isn't necessarily footwork and tons of touch. So I think with the offense, there's still some ways to go overall, but he finished at the rim at a high clip because he's absurdly strong. He's going to be a fairly strong big even in the NBA and has the length to finish over other bigs. So I think with him you can potentially have him be your starting big in within a couple years of like Jakob's contract and be okay with him and Scotty beside each other. Both defensively, that would be insane. And then also in switch situations where you do have Scotty with the ball, he's gonna be able to punish anyone smaller than him because of his size and his length. So I see the vision. I don't have him above Derek Queen, but I do have him above Malawach. I think he's worth a lottery pick.
Wow. I think we disagree a little bit on his defense. I don't see it that high,
Okay.
but
Oh,
also the thing that is a really I do think he's a good defender,
yeah, of
obviously.
course.
He big boys people, and
Mhm.
he did not get big boyed. I
That
that's
is good.
I wonder at the NBA level if he can maintain that, then I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is going to be an extremely effective defender. Man, I didn't see enough of like him going toe to toe. Like, you know what I did see? I did see a 260-pound, 6'4" uh, Gardner Pitt like power forward trying to rumble with him, and Sorber did not lose that matchup. Although he played for Georgetown, like he played good
Yeah.
teams. I just I do wonder about that stuff at the next level. But the thing that like is the big swing for me
Mhm.
is his like how he figures out his own shot making. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because as you said, like he shot 65% on his layups, which is quite good. He clearly has good touch. He shot over 50% on his hook shots. He dunked some, not
Yeah.
a lot of dunks. I think 22 is just under a dunk a game, which considering that he cuts a lot, considering that he has major usage as a roll man and a screener, like it's not a lot. I don't see any value in him being like a lob threat.
Agreed.
He'll catch some lobs throughout his career, but like, will he do that? No. So what does he have to do? He has to catch. He has to hop step. He has to be savvy and to like out move and out finish NBA defenses. That is where I'm like, he shot 46% on twos as the screener, and he shot 13% on his threes. We'll get to the shot. He took shots for a
Yeah,
guy
he's
who
confident.
50%. He took shots. I mean, he even took middies. Like he was just like, I'll get him up, dude. Um, Sometimes it did feel because I do think he is a talented mover. If you put his like hop step game into like a 6'11" big, I think they'd be wrecking things.
Yeah.
But he wasn't super effective at that, like out of the role that I'm like, okay, I see how it can work. And I actually think it's closer. His finishing game will be closer to like a Montrezl Harrell around the rim. Like I think that
Just
would
like
probably
bowling
be
through people.
bowling through people, boom,
Yeah.
having this big wide shoulder slot to finish high, and he can do. You see that stuff go down, and you know he can bump guys, and you know he'll bump and swivel, and it's on the tape. He does it. It's just about how often he's able to make it happen. Because every once in a while he does get trapped, and as long as his arms are, there's still a body meeting him. That is the big swing. Where are you on like that finishing stuff? Like, convince me.
I
Get me on the
I
blueberries.
think he's gonna have outlier strength. I
I mean, he
it's
does. It's
yeah.
there, dude.
And I think he has a really good job of like maintaining like leverage. Like he has like the bendiness and fluidity to like get low, bowl through people and create space. Like there is a game. The reason why I don't think he's a bona fide pick at 9. There's a game versus Ryan Kalkbrenner, who we're gonna talk about in a second, where he did struggle with. That's an enormous man with some certain bigs that he'll play with, even with the space that he'll create with his shoulder, he'll have a hard time finishing over.
Not
But
every big man you run into is the three-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year.
I think like with outlier strength and like his twitchiness, he's gonna be able to get the ball up, I think, fairly quickly. And like the average big now, like you need to have his like level of processing as a passer overall. And I think that will make him more tenable like offensively in general. And if you're with like if he was playing with like a point guard that really puts pressure on the rim, he'll have a much easier time. I don't foresee his role ever being the same as it was in like Georgetown, like being this post up having tons of usage.
Mhm.
But I think he's gonna be great on the glass because of his strength and length. And he's gonna win extra possessions, and he's also going to be able, when he does get that ball, he's going to be able to create the space necessary for him to go up at the rim. And he did that in college, so I think that holds over.
Yeah. It's the thing I'm most interested to see if it translates. And the defense, like I probably maybe I should have went and segmented it into the game. I thought like, he looks like he maybe isn't as comfortable like bouncing off that foot or whatever. But the early tape in the season looks really explosive.
Yeah.
And the tape towards the end of the season I didn't find super explosive on defense, but he's a young man. Put on the optimist hat. It'll come around. You've convinced me. The jumper, he shot 1 of 19 on guarded triples. As I said, 13% on his pick and pop threes. I the jumper,
Yeah.
I just don't know about it, man. I just don't know about it.
It's tough. Like,
It could make him really good if
yeah,
he
if he hits a jumper, then yeah, he's gonna probably be a higher pick than 9 in terms of like in a
if he
redraft.
had a jumper, he would be considered like he'd be like in the Trey Johnson
Yeah,
situation around there, I think.
100%. Like his shot mechanics don't look like terrible, but he gets up a lot of shots, and you don't see any flashes or usually people with like decent mechanics. You see like hot flashes in between the season where like some of that the touch kind of meets the mechanics. Like VJ Edgecombe is like an example of that, where like his shot eventually came along for a bit of a streak. But with him,
A, a lot of wrist in there. Like
yeah, that is true.
yeah.
It is a very high shot also. But I like the confidence though. Usually a big that of like his like playing style wouldn't have the confidence to shoot that many times. So I'm optimistic on his shot overall, but I don't think he needs it to be like a starting NBA big.
I was watching Rasheer Fleming going through like combine workouts, and watching his two motion mid range jumper was insane, man. I was like, oh, because he jumps and he sets it, and then like, and just like I was like, whoa. I don't. I if he became like a good movement or mid range shooter or like jump shooter instead of catch and shoot shooter, I know we're talking about Sorber, but like, yeah, Sorber. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel worse about his jumper than I do about like Yang's or Asa Newell's or even Fleming as like a catch and shoot guy. I mean, Fleming has put
Yeah.
good shots on tape. Like he deserves the benefit of the doubt as much as you're willing to give it. Um, but Sorber is interesting. Like and to his credit, he's a bone crusher screens. And he
Mhm.
was so perfectly willing to just go around and set screens and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a real aspect. And guys who set good screens are typically underrated. Like, and they're more important to the health of offenses than people think. And Sorber, even just by proxy of that, will probably help if he hangs in defensively, which he will hang in. If you think that he'll be one of the best defenders, if not the best, from this draft class, like how you speak about Sorber, he should be in play for 9, big
Yeah.
time. He sounds like, for me, he sounds interesting. For you, he sounds awesome. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to talk
Nine's just a weird place. Like if a couple guys don't fall our way, you're in a weird no man's land where 9 and like 16 feels like the same pick.
It's also like if the draft breaks early, it could create this ripple effect to where the Raptors are looking at a guy at 9 that they thought would go at 6. Like
Yeah.
there's a possibility for all that kind of stuff. 9, not yeah. Like by the time 13 came around with Grady, Grady was like the only prospect who fell. It was
Yeah.
like if you're gonna pick a guy who fell, it's gonna be Grady at 9 or at 13. With Jacoby, it was kind of like, well, Jacoby's the guy who fell, and they took both.
Hmm.
And based on who they've interviewed, based on like I said during the mailbag episode, it was like these are the guys I've heard the Raptors like. They might be sitting rubbing their hands together like I hope someone falls. But a lot of the guys we talked about are like you might have to reach up and like you might take them a little early. The Carter
Hmm.
Bryants, the Flemings, the Sorbers. The guy he struggled against, Ryan Kalkbrenner, is a 5-year senior out of Creighton. He's in play for 39. I don't think he's
Yeah.
as exciting as Hansen Yang, but he's an NBA player. Looks like it
Yeah.
to me. He is 7'1", barefoot, 257 pounds, 7'6" wingspan, 9'4" standing reach, second highest in the class, I think, behind Malwatch. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East. Insane numbers. 19.2 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 2.7 blocks, 65, 34, 68 shooting splits for 68% true shooting. He shot 78% at the rim, and he dunks a lot, but he also shot 70% on layups. He is a big, big
He's
man.
a big boy.
Uh, Kalkbrenner, sell me a little bit.
Yeah. He's like another like eat your vegetables pick. Like I don't think the upside is there, but like he's going to be an NBA big, whether that's like a very high level starter or a high level backup or like
Yeah.
some like average starting big. He does a lot of the things that you need as an NBA big. He rebounds the ball like fairly well. He's probably 1 or 2 in terms of like overall like rim protection. And I think as like a pick and roll finisher in terms of like his movement, especially rolling downhill, he's like one of the best in the
Yeah.
overall draft. Like he uses his length, he gets early seals a lot with Creighton, and he finishes everything that he gets at the rim. And I don't think he's a statue in the sense of like a Luke Cornett. And I try really hard not to do the white guy and white guy comps. Like he can move a little better than a Luke Cornett. You see it coming downhill. He has some like agility doing some of those things. I don't think he wasn't asked a lot to do any short roll or passing like processing in between. A lot of it is up and down in terms of where they play. But defensively, when he's on the floor, like he has a lid on the rim. And like Creighton didn't ask him to do tons of movement like a Sorber would and be on the perimeter and guard some other wings. But if in like drop defense, he offers tons of resistance. And if you offer that and you can rebound the ball, win possessions, and finish at the rim with a pick and roll ball handler, that's a great backup big that plays for 10 years, that plays 10 to 15 minutes a game. It's not like the most sexiest pick, but he could play next year and be the backup big for the Raptors and be fairly decent.
I'm going to nitpick. So, him as a roller,
Yeah.
he doesn't look for the ball till the end of his roll,
Mm-hmm.
which to me, that means one of two things. Either like really bad awareness, or they're like terrified of him catching middle. And he made a couple floaters I did see,
Yeah.
but like he sets the screen. And what I typically like to see is like set the screen, create the space, and like create the passing target. You know, like
Yeah.
Jakob Poeltl is so incredible at creating the passing target. Kalkbrenner literally just starts like running. He looks past
Yeah.
the basket and he just starts like running, and then he'll be like 6 feet away, and then he'll look up and be like, "Am I getting lobbed? Is the ball coming to me?" And I think it like I wonder how available just like lobs are, not only like in the NBA, but specifically being able to catch lobs in the pick and roll is really closely tied to who the hell is handling the ball in the pick and roll.
Yeah, that is fair.
I'm not so certain unless he's just too damn big, too damn good that like a tag doesn't mean much to him. Like a guy rolling
Yeah.
with him, he's just gonna go get it over top. I don't know. So this is me nitpicking like the versatility of his role, but as you said, unequivocally, he was one of the best in all of college. He scored 19 points per game, man,
Yeah.
on 68% true shooting. Like he scored the hell out of the basketball. He's really, as you said, he's really diligent, sealing when he gets a small. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, lobs, seals, static post up touches. A lot of this is like college big man.
Yeah.
There, Drew Timmy was fun at the end of the season. Although Drew is much smaller. I shouldn't even, again, a white guy. Well, yeah, we're none of us are impervious to it. I'm not like completely sold on it, but I guess neither is the NBA or the wider like because
Yeah, that's why he's there.
yeah, it's why he's there at 39. But I do
Yeah.
believe the defense, like there's just things he'll do. He'll finish at the rim
Yeah.
when he has the ball near there. He'll be effective around the basket if you can keep him there. It depends on if the Raptors have the tools on the roster to put him in those stronger spots, which is so much of what being an elite lead creator is that you make a big man who just needs to be around the rim suddenly really effective.
Yeah.
And that's the Raptors have not had that in some time. Like Scotty isn't that. Pascal, when he was the lead ball handler, was not that.
Yeah.
Kyle was that at his best. He could bring a guy off the street and be like, "You're getting 17 and 12 on 32 minutes," and it
You're
was
you're
like, "Well,
gonna
damn,
you're gonna get $20 million a year by the end
dude,
by the time I'm done with you.
Bismack, man,
What a
unbelievable the way he was able to do that."
he
Yeah,
Kyle Lowry created generational wealth for the Biombo family with that
yeah,
playoff run, which is
incredible.
insane. I think with Kalkbrenner, even like with 39, like he would be a fine pick at 39. I personally, like, for the Raptors, because that the role of like the backup big can be acquired like fairly easily. I feel like the Rockets, they get Steven Adams. Steven Adams was able to play and be like a big part of their playoff series, and they got him for fairly cheap.
Yep.
I want to shoot higher. They have like the roster around them to now somewhat compete, and the expectation is to be a playoff team. I think with like pick 39, you don't necessarily need someone that's going to be able to plug right away. I'd rather shoot for the stars and go for a much like higher potential type guy, or even trade up like say in like 9 they Jeremiah Fierce falls to falls to them at like number 9. You trade up for Hassan Yang for example, and you're shooting for like upper percentile like percentage type guys and hoping one of those guys bang and hit and take the core that you have to a much like higher level.
That'd be a fun little bench situation,
It would.
Yang and Fierce together.
It would be super fun. Like they're in a good
Dick
position.
Fierce Yang. Let's go, man. Hell yeah, dude.
They're in a position to shoot. Like last year, they I feel like we needed some hits from just because like the cupboard was so bare in terms of like prospects, in terms of like younger guys, and I won't call Jamal Shed and Jonathan Mobile like hits automatically, yes, but they played minutes and you see flashes that they're going to be able to be on the team for a long period of time. They don't need the 39th pick to play any minutes for them next season. So I want to shoot for the stars and or trade up like Kalkbrenner. Obviously, it's fine, but even in the way that the Raptors play, there's no possessions of him getting the ball from the elbow, creating a delay action, finding Ochai Abaji coming downhill on the other side, and
Yeah.
and making a pass. Like so, like it's a kind of a clunky fit in that sense, sort of too. So it's just it would be okay. I think that's just the general consensus.
I had a tweet about this where I was like, you have to be so sure about spending like the 9th pick on a big. Like you got to be
Yeah,
sure that big is going to be absolutely dynamite, because otherwise, if you're looking for a backup big or whatever, it's like find one in the second round then, like Kalkbrenner,
yeah,
or I guess Yang if he somehow fell, or any. But you look at the final 4 teams. It's like Isaiah Hartenstein. There's a podcast from 2020 where Blake and I were like, damn, I wish the Raptors would have signed him before he signed with Denver.
yeah.
And then the next, like, Hartenstein just got paid, but he gave you roughly the same amount of impact for like 4 straight years, making an average of like $5 million a year.
Yeah.
Naz Reid is the backup in Minnesota, and he was an undrafted free agent. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like, and Chet, there's J Dub. Hartenstein is that guy. He just got paid, but like he was available for so many teams for years.
Yeah.
Naz Reid, same thing. The Pacers, it's like Miles Turner. Yes, he was like what, the 15th pick, if I remember correctly, and he's the unique one because he's been around forever. But like even then, it's like the Pacers never bet the farm on Miles Turner
Yeah.
ever, and it was the 15th pick. And then also like yeah, OKC and New York, literally New York is like, okay, who's there? Who's their big man? It's Karl Anthony Towns, who was a first overall pick, so they thought he was going to be a star. They traded for him. And it's Mitchell Robinson, who's a second round pick,
Yeah.
who makes like hardly any money. You don't, you bigs, you look around the league, they're available. You just got
Mm-hmm.
to have the eye for it. And the Raptors, they have smoked every backup big situation for years. In a league that has found guys, they
Yeah.
found nothing. So if they pick a guy, I hope, that's my hope. Just like I hope to God they're good. I hope to God they're
Yeah.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That,
Kalkbrenner, it's eat your vegetables, That's a nice little, by the way, Caitlin today on the podcast, she said friggin', and I was like, ooh. I was like, Trey says that's white people. And she was like, damn. Cause she was talking with a twang last episode. She said conversion. I was like, holy
conversion.
moly, conversion. Yeah. Anything on Kalkbrenner before we get out of here?
No, like he's like one of the most like straightforward prospects like to project. He's gonna be able to protect the rim. If you have a pick and roll ball handler that can put pressure on the defense, he's gonna be a lob threat. He's gonna be able to finish off of some of the actions. I think he's a person that a prospect that if you play that style of offense, he's going to be able to fit and play and fill in for your starting big for 10 to 15 minutes probably year one, and like a contender probably needs that overall. But like the Raptors, I'm unsure if we need that like right away. Like if the Raptors end up being better than we expected, they could at the deadline get a backup big probably for a second round pick, might even be able to get him free, honestly.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about some of that stuff this summer, because I guess
Yeah,
it's not technically summer yet. It's crazy that summer starts June 21st. That seems so late, dude.
it does
Uh,
seem weird.
yeah, but I guess there's not much of a spring in Canada.
No.
You know what I mean? Like Canada is not much of a spring, but yeah, we'll talk about potential free agency bigs. And then behind all of this conversation, Ulrich Chomche. Some people, like, I know it's been a year and he tore the MCL, but some people are still like, they're like, just you wait. It's
I'm
coming,
there.
baby. Hey, dude. He's
He's
the
he,
Hall of Famer at 9 for you.
he's he's the little Pokemon egg. We're waiting for him to just hatch. I went to one G League game all year. Our good friend and producer, as Fendi our
Oh,
Bearhan, he
yeah.
says, come to a game. I'm like, where is Chomche? Oh, this is gonna be good. And then he's like, no, he's actually injured. He's not gonna play at all. Who else did I come to see? What's his name? He got a point guard. He got released. I forgot his name. He played really well in summer league.
In
DJ
summer?
Carton,
Oh, DJ Carton. Mm.
and he was injured too and doesn't play. But this year, I'm going to see that Pokeball in the flesh, and one day he's going to be the starting center for this team.
What? Ulrich Chomche is evolving. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was such a flyer
Yeah,
that if it turns into anything, then you're like, hell yeah, dude. Because all they did was they just bought a pick and were like, yes, we'll
yeah.
come to terms, make it happen. Yeah, he has a lot of interesting tools, but that's the big man podcast. A range, right?
Mm.
Uh anything you want to say before we get out of here?
I keep forgetting to do my Kofi Kingston
Oh
stint
yeah.
run, which
Next week.
which was promised. Next week I will have something prepared for Kofi Kingston masquerading as a Jamaican for a decade.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
I imagine his last name is not Kingston. If I had to.
it was crazy. He had reggae music. It was nuts. He dressed in the green, yellow, and black.
Man, imagine if Sean Kingston was actually like from like Lagos or something. You know what I mean?
That would actually be very funny.
Yeah. All
I
right.
can't spoil too much of it, but
Yeah. We'll have that next week.
yeah.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. This is one of Canada's favorite basketball podcasts. Keep us that way and support us. Thank you. Whether you got into this in the morning or at night, from myself and Trevon, have a blessed day and goodbye.